Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wow. How are you doing today?
Good, and you?
Thanks for asking. I'm great as well. Can't complain. It's like 10 o'clock in Seoul, so I guess
Uh,
it's about like 8 o'clock in Austin, Texas right now.
it's seven p.m.
Oh, it's 7. Oh, did you grab some dinner?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hungry. I ate something at lunchtime. It was like 3 p.m. So I'm good.
Yeah, speaking of your diet and food, I used to know that you got some special diet like going on, right? To make your stomach a little better. I remember that
Yeah.
uh, you sort of kept it like very healthy diet. Do you still stick to that
Yes.
diet recently or?
Yeah. So um, the diet that I'm doing today is a little bit different. Um, it's called low carb.
Mm-hmm.
But regarding my um, stomach pain that I had. Um, with time, I realized that what the doctor was saying was more true than I was believing at that time. Um, let me let me put this here. I think it would be a little bit better.
Yeah, no worries.
Um, can you hear me?
Yeah, much better. Yeah, without much noise. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
pretty good.
awesome, cool. Um, so what I was saying is I realized that my stomach pain was emotional more than anything else.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as I did realize that, for some reason, it was easy for me because I was just like, okay, so I'm just going to chill, and then it stopped hurting as much.
Oh.
And eventually, within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it just went away. Um,
Oh.
so
That's so good to hear. So Lucas, so does it mean that now that you could like eat more range of foods and you say you got more tolerant for other types of food or?
yeah, I still have some problems with gluten and as I did before, but yeah, today I have much more tolerance. Like for really, what was happening when I had stomach pains, I was trying to limit the foods that I was eating to the most healthy possible,
Mm-hmm.
more than anything else.
Yeah.
Um, so my what I could or could not eat, I think it was more dictated by like I want to eat as healthy as possible. Um, so yeah, that fortunately got a lot better. Are you still having those?
I'm glad to hear that. I also got like much better. After I came back to Korea, got a hemorrhage surgery, and then that was sort of a big game changer. And then after that, my total diet changed from Americans to Korean, which I'd say much less fattening food and much healthy food in a sense that we taking a lot of fibers and less red meat, a lot of fish. Um,
I see.
Similar to vegan diet, I would say a lot of Koreans eat. Of course, we also eat we consume a lot of chicken, pork, and beef, but there are a lot of more variations and substitutes I can easily get access to through like online or offline market. Yeah, so it was much better, and I'm glad that you're also doing good, Lucas. Yeah, I was just wondering that you left Google and now you got another job, and that was the sort of the last topic that we were discussing before I left Google, probably like a year and a half ago with you, me, and Nika at the back of the soccer field.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, how is your new job, and could you tell me a little bit about like your new career and all that kind of thing? I'm very curious.
Oh yeah. I'm also curious about your career. So
Hmm.
after I finish, I want to hear about
Yeah,
yours, how it's going.
of
Um,
course.
so man, as SME in Qualitas, that was like more and more like saying that wasn't the right place to be at. I felt like there was like a spirit of non-improvement at
Mm.
Qualitas that I didn't want to be a part of. Like, I had all these ideas and there was no discussion about them, and it wasn't going forward. So I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to look for a better place than Qualitas, even though I'm very grateful for them and
Oh.
for all my experience. So I found this opportunity from a friend at Qualitas who he worked there for a little bit. I don't know if you got to know him. I don't think so. He entered, I think, right after you left.
Uh-huh.
His name is Mario. He's Brazilian, and he told me of this job at Viva, and I applied for it, and he referred me to the person in the company, which was his close friend, called Paulo. And so I went through the the whole interview process,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully I got this job. Thank God, which is it's much better. It's like it's called, the name of it is called application engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do, and I'm starting to do, still in training phase, but what I'm supposed to do when I'm completely trained is help industries control better their processes using a digitalized, centralized system to for alerting, for putting all the data in the database, and understanding better what's happening, so they can compare also better the different industries that maybe a same company has. Like, so if you have an industry in Texas and one in California that are producing the same thing, our idea is to standardize the process and digitalize and make it easy to compare one with another, so you can see exactly what is causing less production or any issues that they may be having. So yeah, that's what my work is about. It's the company is called Viva, and we use a software that has been, it's in development since I think the 2000s. So it's really just like application of that software.
That's so interesting. So it seems like it's like a B2B based platform where you kind of work as would you say you're still like QA engineer role, or would you say you're doing much more technical work using a lot of programming languages and your own creative problem solving skills to do that?
Yeah, it's more creative problem solving, but it's more engineering related, more technical. It's not technical to the point that like I need to understand what transistor that has to be used in the machine or something, but it's much more in the process control level of like trying to make the process as efficient and organized as possible by using software that gather everything, display everything in the best way possible for you, that for the guy that is using that process, and also to make it as easy as possible to compare the processes within like different industries. Like it makes it much easier. So yeah.
Well, congratulations, Lucas. Like, huge kudos to your new journey, and I'm so glad that you got a tremendous help from your Brazilian coworker. You know, since Qualitas was such a like diverse and international company, it's all the time great for us to take the most out of it. I wouldn't say that we should take advantage of them, but as long as like we could kind of stay tight knitted and we could work out with them pretty neatly and smoothly. I think there are a lot of benefits that we can indirectly kind of expect to get it from. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So from my end, I think this is my third job, given the fact that working at Google was my first job. So in the meantime, the reason why I moved up to Seoul, even though I'm from Busan, which is the second largest city, like closer to Japan area in Korea, first I sort of like I get in a company where I have to develop software of like making web apps or mobile apps using MySQL, Node.js, and React or something. So it's like very front end or back end. So they hired me as like full stack software developer, but turned out that they're bullshit. So it was sort of like a paper company, and then once I got into the company, like it
I see.
was horrible. A lot of hazing, a lot of controlling, micromanaging. Boss was like throwing
I see.
files to me. Like it was just insane. That happened in 2021, and I was the eighth member to join. Right now, that company went
Mm-hmm.
bankrupt. So in the meantime, I just worked
I
there
see.
so briefly for 3 months, and then
Mm-hmm.
um, I got into this company called Mirai, standing for MO Mobility. R as research, A as an AI, and this company, like kind of staple product is we are making a testing algorithm for um, software that's gonna get embedded in autonomous driving kind of vehicle.
Mm.
So I don't know if you have heard of like the Waymo of Google. So Waymo is like a small startup company like
Yes.
us, and then Google sort of did an acquisition of this company. So we
Mm.
actually work really closely with Hyundai, which is the biggest Korean automobile company, and they give us a
Mm.
project. Our company is like thankfully growing leaps and bounds these days, and we a lot of investors see huge kind of potentials and kind of the
Nice.
exploding the kind of market value. So that's really good. And I'm writing a code, basically Python code, and I'm solving a lot of the math problems. So there are a couple of teams, like for example, simulation team, graphics team, service team, and stuff like that.
Mm.
I'm in a core development team, so the major responsibility that I'm doing every day is I try to import and grab the map data from other clients. It's kind of B2B business, so the other client, they either hash or they sort of I don't know what to say, that they crypto their sort of data file. I have to like uncrypt it using Python and then convert it
Mm.
into our company's data format, and then I have to make the map and have to put some lot of the traffic signals. So now I could like fully I could like proudly tell you that I'm the one of the few people in Korea that who understand the traffic system the best. It's quite really
Nice.
nice, like if you have any intersection or sidewalk, like I can, even before the green light turns on, I can start working because I can predict, okay, next time like this green light will turn on. And everyone is like, oh, what the hell is that guy's doing? But some of the people that follow me and they were like nodding me and, yep, you're right. Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool.
Definitely, I'm working in a cutting edge industry. It's a startup company. We have about like 70 people. I really like my coworkers. They're from really prestigious and sought after universities, and they have a lot of also global. They have a lot of a bunch of working experience from global companies. So I feel really blessed and grateful to work with them. And there are quite a few Christians that as I can tell. So that's also, I
Oh,
didn't
that's
like
awesome. Yeah.
discuss too deep kind of spiritual topics with them,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm always forever grateful to God that I'm given this opportunity. So I've worked here for 6 months, and I don't know what I'm gonna do afterwards, but I'm just still on the way of learning a lot of different company structures and systems and all. So every day it's like a lot of fun, and none of these things repetitive. So that's what makes this job very interesting, which is very different from the Google work that I used to do in quality test. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Quality test is like, yeah. I think it's a good place to start, but not a good place to stay. That the job that we had,
oh, that's a pretty
like quality test.
yeah, it's a pretty good
Yeah.
summary, synopsis, overview of
Yeah.
the kind of evaluation of our company.
Yeah. Yeah, like 2 years max. I think it's good for your quality test. Like, and even what you did, like at the time that you left, like I don't see as being like negative at all. I think it was good. Was a good timing. It's just, and given all the your reasons, like I think you definitely did the best thing, the best thing. Yeah.
hmm So Lucas, like I still like wanted to say thank you. Like by the time I left like America, you really did help me a lot. Like finishing out the writing, signing the contract, and then You help me like clean my room and move all my stuff to the airport, all the kind of thing. I'm really forever grateful to you. And I also want to
Oh
say
man.
congratulations to your wedding or um, marriage. I heard that now you're like back with your spouse and all family. Is that true? You still live in Camden, Amber Oaks, and live with your brothers. And how is that kind of new wed life?
Oh, oh yeah. So my brothers lived here with me for like 4 months, I think. They just came to make some money,
Hmm.
and my youngest brother, he's a computer scientist, so he was also looking for an internship. He was able to get one, and then he got a job because of that internship in Brazil. A very good job that it's like working for American company from Brazil. So like he's earning in dollars
Hmm.
in Brazil. So that's very nice for him.
That indeed is.
Um,
Wow, good for him.
yeah, I always say to people like it would be awesome to like earn American salary and live in a place like Brazil, because then that's like a very very good salary.
That sounds
Um,
so amazing. How was he able to do that? I was even thinking of doing that. Like, did he use like LinkedIn or something, that kind of platform, or?
so um, he also I would say that we have been exceedingly blessed, because like for me my job that I got right now was referral from a friend. And for him, it was also the same thing. It was referred from my aunt Linda, and
Mm,
it ended up very well. Like when he was leaving the company, they were all the people that were working with them were all sad that he had to go back to Brazil or whatever, and finish up his college, because
right.
they really wanted to continue with him.
Uh
Um,
huh.
so, so yeah, we have been exceedingly blessed with that, like we with friends and family that somehow have contacts and get us referred. Like
Mm.
yeah.
Well, in America, for people who don't believe in God, it could be called nepotism, which is like, as you can tell, like using relative strings and all. But for believers like us, I think it's really God's plan and His idea to let this happen.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's we still went through the same interview process too,
Mm-hmm.
like as everyone has to go through. It's just I see it as like if you're going to buy, like let's say a car or a house, you always feel better about it if you have a very trustworthy friend or family or whatever that said that, yeah, that house is, I recommend that house or I recommend that car. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, we were very blessed by having that
yeah, that's probably the
opportunity of
biggest.
having one to recommend us.
Yeah, the credit stamp that we can got, biggest credentials that and trust that we can.
Yeah, because I was always saying with Mario, this guy that helped me out, I was saying like because I really needed someone recommending me, because my resume was a lot of potential, but not that much experience. And
Mm.
for someone like that, like a recommendation, it makes all the difference in the world. Um, just like for
Mm.
someone to believe in your potential, really, basically that's it. Like because you have all this potential, but who says that you're actually going to
Wow.
realize this potential as you're saying? So I need some kind of guarantee. Okay, now I have this guy recommending you. Now I feel more secure hiring you, right? So it kind of
So it
works that way
turns out
with
to be
me.
that the
Yeah.
Viva is Mario's previous company. That's how he referred to you, or you guys have a mutual friend, another third party friend.
Yeah, Mucho. It was a friend. Yeah, I was a friend of Mario's that is currently my boss today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. So how is new working culture over there? Workload or just the work in terms of the work structure? Is it pretty similar to Google, or would you say much different people, much different working culture, much different pressure, or?
Yeah, I would say it's very similar to Google. It's just like
Mm.
they're a little bit more open to like if you need to go through a week of like a lot of work to make a client happy, then you just go through it. But in normal standard, it's like it's very similar to Google. I mean, the difference is like at Google with Qualtest was basically like they would say, don't work more than 8 hours,
Right.
don't do this. At this job, they don't say anything, just like, okay, if you can work more, like that would be very helpful. So, but as I'm still training, I, my description is not very accurate still because I didn't experience the company at full, let's say, as full like when I really start working, then I will. Because right now I'm mostly training.
Right.
But when I start like really getting stuff done and things like that, then I will be able to make something more accurate. But that's my impression for now.
Cause like
In Korea, it's like it's very work oriented people, right? Like it's
yeah, they indeed are,
hard
and
work.
then
Yeah.
actually, thankfully, I don't know why, but I think God indeed has a lot of plans over my career as well, in a sense that by the time I came back to Korea, in terms of job market, and as you can tell, like at the time the COVID was serious. I mean, still serious, but so a lot of the Korean companies, they, it was the point that they rapidly adopt a lot of the American working cultures and whatnot, even platforms.
I see.
So actually,
That's nice.
yeah, I got hired this job through LinkedIn. LinkedIn used to be the Americans' legacy, but now it's so prevalent in a lot of Asian countries. Not just LinkedIn but Glassdoors, let's say the company reviewer side, or webinar. You know, like the third party, the video conferencing side. That kind of so many platforms came imported to Korea back in 2019 or 20 area after the COVID hit really badly. So I really appreciate you, like Isabel, Mohammed, whoever wrote recommendation on quotes on my LinkedIn profile. And I'm not a paid LinkedIn Premium member, but what happened was our current company recruiter, he or she sort of pre-checked or pre-screened my LinkedIn profile, and he or she came across a lot of good recommendations. So usually in company we have a 5 or 6 rounds of interview, but I almost like skipped 2 or 3 rounds of interview, and I only had 2 or 3 rounds, you know. So I'm like, oh, I could definitely. They didn't like explicitly say it because of your great recommendation or codes, you know. Now you are in this situation, but I just felt like really grateful, and that since as you can tell, this is our either second. It was not first job. I think, like you mentioned, recommendation or referral like really do mean a lot to us, and the older we become, I think it's gonna be more like that. The networking, you know, it's not a bribing
Yeah.
others to get us job, but it's just part of the just
Exactly.
the work industry psychology.
It's
Yeah.
it's just like how we are wired to work, right? Like as I said, like you're not going to buy a house, even though like you're seeing like everything that seems to be good, but if you don't trust them, if you don't have something or someone to recommend them, you don't feel you're not going to feel right with that purchase. Like, but if you, by the other hand, have someone that is trustworthy, or even like a lot of people saying the same thing, like in a review website or something, that just already starts making you build confidence on that product, so you can just you can maybe purchase it or something. Yeah.
Yeah, hands down.
So, yeah.
I really second that. So, I guess you probably also plan to stay there for a couple of years. And is that still job located in Austin?
It's located in Austin. It's going into hybrid, I think, from remote to hybrid by March,
Okay.
probably. I don't know. I'm just saying March is like a guess, but I really don't know what time it's going to happen. But right now it's remote, work from home, and I think like whenever we have to implement something in an industry, then we may travel to that place to implement that, and then come back after it's done. So there's like also some travel to it.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, that's pretty good. So, did you get a
yeah,
booster shot or something? Like, didn't you have any side effects of two vaccinations? Is still vaccination going on? Is it very controversial in America?
still, it's going on. It's still It's controversial because not the vaccine that in itself is not that controversial. What's controversial has been like should the government mandate it or not? Um, so like I took the two. Took the two shots because I was just like whatever. All of these people already took it, and no one is like bad by now, and I think for that reason it's like pretty secure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, a lot of people still do not trust that much in the vaccine because it's like a new technology.
Makes sense.
Not that like it's like a RNA replication stuff. Like this is like a new way of doing vaccines, right, compared to the other ones. So I don't
Right.
know. There are some people that still doubt it a lot. But COVID has stopped, at least in Texas where we live. We don't use masks anymore, and no one cares anymore. Like it's like for a long time already. Like it's as if it doesn't exist. As if
Mm.
it ceased existing, ceased being a problem. Um,
Mm.
but it's in great part due to, for sure, the vaccination. A lot of people are still vaccinated,
Mm.
even though there's a lot of people against it. A lot of like I think here in Texas is like 60% of the people vaccinated. So that's already like a considerable amount and made a lot of difference. I think it was even enough difference for the pandemic here to almost basically end, like at least numerically by now.
Oh, it's good as long as the cases go down and as long as all people are getting immune to it. I think I heard it's gonna be like a seasonal flu, or I hope that just the severity of this
Yeah,
flu also gets mild.
yeah. I think as soon as people have immunity for it, then I think it's going to, for sure, it's going to be like a seasonal flu. It's going to be one more flu to the mix that already existed, unfortunately. Um, and yeah, and the people that don't have that good of an immunity will have to continue to take a lot of precautions, like people that are in the cancer treatments, like people like that always like already knew, right? Like even before COVID, that if they got a flu, it will be dangerous because their immunity is very low. So people like that will have to continue to stay away, use a lot of masks, and be careful, right? So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. So, Lucas, how's Austin? How's Austin doing? I heard that Austin is booming in terms of real estate and in terms of weather and all that kind of culture. Would you say it's similar, or is it more getting more crowded? You see more crazy people coming in, or
Um, well, Austin, I feel like Austin is getting more crowded, yeah. But it's not that much of a difference yet because it hasn't been that long since you left.
mm-hmm.
But the two big differences, like the real estate market went absolutely crazy. Like the prices are crazy. Um, there's like lines of like 30 people waiting and just like competing for buying one home and for a very high price.
That's what I heard.
Um, yeah, that's true. Um, so there's that. And also the used car market is going crazy here too because I think because of COVID, transportation of new cars took a hit. So there's like if you want to buy a new car, there's less cars available, and so you may not be able to get your car as soon as you buy it. You may have to wait. So a
Interesting.
lot of people are buying used cars, and the used car value went high. It went up by a lot. Um, so in terms of market, there's like already a big difference. But in terms of crowds, I didn't see that much of a difference actually. I don't know. Maybe it was less crowded before. I would have to have some measurements
Makes
to
sense. Yeah.
to tell you for sure. Like I'm not that good of of a person to analyze these things.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess. So, did you also buy a home, or you still rent out your property?
I'm still at Camden. Still at
Yeah,
Camden.
that was one of the best places to live, actually, right?
Yeah, it's very nice.
It used to
And
cost like a
as when
1,200,
yeah.
so I bet it's gonna be almost 1,400 right now, or more than that for one bedroom apartment.
Yeah, so I got my renting contract, by March of this year. By then, rental prices were not that crazy. And also, it was like, did I tell you that there's like a squirrel died in my old apartment, and I had to move to another apartment because of that?
Didn't it happen in your old apartment's balcony or something, or did it happen inside, literally inside your home?
It happened like inside the walls, I think, of the home.
Inside the wall. There was a squirrel died.
Yeah, a squirrel, like either the wall or the ceiling somewhere. I think it was inside the wall.
How did you end
The
up figuring
squirrel
that
died.
out? Like, that's even more surprising.
So like someone through the ceiling. Someone went through the ceiling. Like you can walk up there and see. So if it was up there, probably they would have seen it. I think it fell within the cracks like of the wall and got stuck and was stinking so bad. So what happened was like the storm, the big storm of Texas happened, right?
Right.
So I had to rescue we had to rescue a bunch of people. People came here, sleep at my place because there was no energy anywhere else. Just here, for some reason, I still had energy and water and everything. And after that, after everyone went to their homes, a very bad smell started appearing at my closet. Um, the smell was getting worse and worse, and I just like went to Walmart, bought a bunch of products to like try to make the smell better, but it wasn't making it better, and
Oh
the
my gosh.
smell slowly started creeping into my room and to the whole house. Um, so it got to the point that, like I said, like okay, probably something died. And
That
then
has
I
something to do
called.
with maybe other things, right?
I think it died during the storm because of the cold of the storm. Um, Maybe even birds. I don't know. I'm saying squirrel. It's some kind of animal that died, and so I called Camden, and they basically like throughout 2 weeks.
Right.
After I called them, or I think even 3 weeks of suffering with stinkiness, I had to sleep with window open and stuff. They weren't able to do anything because I think to do something they would have to make a bunch of holes in the wall until they find it. That makes a mess and it's a lot of work.
Right.
And they really didn't want to have to go through that. So eventually, like I got to a point that like I'm leaving and Camden, aren't you going to do anything about it? Aren't you going to help me?
Right.
So what they did was they offered me a better apartment for the same price of the other one. It's a much bigger apartment and the same price of the contract. So I didn't even see the price in March. Actually, I still got the price of the old apartment for this one that I am at now.
Oh, very nice.
So yeah. So
but that's
we joke here. We joke here that it was a great thing that the squirrel died because now I'm living at a better apartment for the same price because of that.
But I guess that's sort of the compensation of your suffering for 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very bad time. I remember having like to sleep very close to the window and all that stinky smell. Like I kind of got traumatized with the smell. Actually, yeah. I can't stand it.
There's no free lunch, Lucas. But I'm glad that now you're finding new home, and so I guess it's like probably 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or still like you said 1-bedroom, but it's much bigger.
Oh no, yeah, it's 1 bedroom, but it's bigger. It's much bigger.
That's pretty good.
I can send you like a plant of it. For you to see.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it's much better apartment. Thankfully.
Oh, that's great.
And the whole point of the story that I'm telling you is like I still didn't see the prices of the market yet. Like I was fortunate enough to like I'm still paying prices of the market when I did the contract of the other apartment, and even better, right? Because that apartment is cheaper than this one.
Very nice. Um, how about like, is your wife doing okay? Like, did she settle in America right now? What's she doing?
Oh yeah, she's living here with me. So as I said, my brothers are not living here anymore. They came here, made some money, and just went back to Brazil. But fortunately, yeah, that's another good thing that happened.
One
I
question
was
here,
able to,
Lucas. So you said
yeah,
your brothers came here and earned money and came back. So what are their visa status like? Are they also citizens?
yeah, they are citizens
Oh.
because my dad is American.
I wish my dad is also American too.
Yeah, I mean, too many blessings. But yeah, well, our dad's American. Like the reason that I came here in the States in the first place was because I'm a citizen, so it's easy to come, and the jobs here are much better than Brazil. So like, why not come? In Brazil, you start with a very, very low salary as an engineer. There are too many engineers back there in Brazil, and too many engineers and too little demand for them. Let's say it's very hard for you to get jobs, and you're paid very low salaries even when you get them.
So now that after you get married with her and you make up your mind to settle down in America, like you probably go back to Brazil for family visit or very rarely, right?
Yeah, so we have two plans. If we like, we want to stay here for 5 years until my wife gets citizenship too. Like it takes 5 years, I think, to
Really?
get citizenship. Yeah.
Wow, that
We
is
want
so
to stay
long.
for that time. And as soon as she gets a citizenship, we want to evaluate like, are we liking this place or should we go back to Brazil? Because by then, my resume will be very good and good enough, I think, to get a good job in Brazil. So we want to stay here for at least those 5 years, get her a citizenship so she can freely come back here or other places as in the passport is good. And from there, we're going to decide like, will we continue here or go back to Brazil or go to Germany? I don't know. Let's see what happens.
I think that's a very smart plan, Lucas. As long as like you could experience all different countries and you could probably end up making a final choice.
Yeah. So what was it going
So
to
it's better for
say?
you to have babies, one or two, so that you can also give them citizenship, and if they're born in America, isn't it?
Oh, that's a great. Yeah, definitely. Have them here.
Yeah,
Like,
rather than in Brazil.
yeah, until they are like 8 years old, kind of like that age, we are pretty sure that we want to do homeschooling.
Oh,
Because what they learn until they are 8 is very basic, and we think we can study, and we would be qualified to teach them. But as soon as they get to this higher age, I think we won't be qualified anymore. So we want to homeschool them until that age.
okay.
So regardless, like it will until they get to like 8 or 10 years old, like it will not depend where we live. We're going to do homeschooling, anyways. After that, then it's going to be a harder decision, like what we're going to do. Like will we go to Brazil and put them in Brazilian schools? Are the Brazilian schools good? Are the American schools good?
It's really good.
So yeah.
How about Lucas in terms of I know that yeah, you definitely have that. But are you personally doing any like stocks or funds to reinvest your budget, or do you put any extra efforts to?
Oh yeah. So so there's the thing. So I got married the 7th of November last year. I had a lot of expenses with going back. I went back to Brazil even like this year again, and I brought back Caissa here, and so I had a ton of expenses. So I ended up with very little money. So I have no money invested today, but I think about it all the time. And I think like as soon as I have some money, I'm going to put it in Bitcoin.
Oh.
Like for me, Bitcoin is a very solid investment long term.
Mm.
I think it's going to be the new currency 10 years from now. It may take some time. It may take some time, but I think eventually it will get to that point, and then the price of Bitcoin is going to very much less. It's not going to be as crazy as it is today, very speculative. But so yeah, I'm thinking about a lot about Bitcoin, not that much about stocks.
Right.
Mostly because the economy is so crazy that I just get like I'm just disappointed with the government, what the government is doing and everything. So I need to think more about like what I'm going to do regarding like stocks wise.
So
Like
that's
even with
interesting.
401k.
What's the catch about Bitcoin? Why are so many people got obsessed with it? You think like you feel that the Bitcoin's gonna be really hot potato like down the line, not just because as an investment, but also do you think it has like huge potentials to replace its currency system right now?
Yes. So Bitcoin is only an investment today because there's still some risk of another. Like there's some risk regarding like what is going to be the main currency.
Right.
Because like in its essence, Bitcoin was made to hold the value of whatever you have. So just like the perfect currency shouldn't inflate, I think it should deflate as technology gets better and we get richer as a society. That's I think the correct tendency to deflate or even stay stable with the same value. And Bitcoin has like a limited number that can ever exist, and its production is lower and lower throughout time. So just like gold, as soon as it starts being used for like much more than it is today, the main thing of Bitcoin is being a storage of value, better than gold because gold is very hard for you to physically maintain it, like have it secured. At Bitcoin, you just need like a password in your head, and that's it. So I mean, the dollar is inflated by the U.S. government, and that's basically an indirect tax. Like,
Right.
and that's a huge disadvantage. Disadvantage of using the dollar. And I think inflation may get only worse and worse through time because the government is not cutting down the spending of with spending and its measures. So it's I think it's a very clear tendency for me that soon there will be no option other than Bitcoin. Like everyone is going, like it's going to slowly migrate to Bitcoin currency system.
Oh, I think I've better study more about Bitcoin then. I've just like found it as kind of a funny gig where people just did. I thought just this kind of like a small gambling, that kind of miniature game, but it seems like a
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't invest in Bitcoin long term. No, sorry,
short
you shouldn't
term.
invest in short term. Long term, then it's a good investment in my opinion, and not only investment but a store of value. Like the money that we have today is like slowly devaluating, so I think it's a good place to put your money at. It's something that I have been studying a lot and thinking a lot about. It's not like the thing is like currency doesn't mean anything. Like it's just like based on the trust that the politicians give to you. So it's even worse than Bitcoin if you think about it. Like the value of the currency that we use today, like the dollar and the currency in
One.
Korea,
Mm-hmm.
one, it's tied to how reliable a government is, and generally a government is not reliable. So it's not a good way of defining the money that you use. It's much more unreliable than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just like that fixed value, and that's it. Like there's no inflation, no one can control it. It's decentralized. There's no one controlling it. So as a currency, it's almost like the perfect currency. And if you think about it, like Bitcoin is so interesting because if you, for some reason, have an island where you can produce, let's say, energy from a volcano. Right now, today, you cannot use that. Like, if it wasn't for Bitcoin, that energy wouldn't be used for anything unless you make a transmission line to somewhere that can use that energy. But today, you can only basically just have internet at that place, and you can use that energy at that island to mine Bitcoin. So this way, you can also decentralize the energy in a sense. Like you can make energy in every place of the globe valuable, even though there's no transmission line. You can just you just need to have internet.
Amazing. Lucas, I'm so sorry to tell this, but my boss is actually slacking me that Kevin, like, why are you not doing your work right now? Because I forgot that I had a 10:30 meeting.
No worries, man.
So I think I gotta hang up at this point. But it's so good to see you, Lucas, and maybe we could sync up another time, maybe a couple of months more later or something. It's always fun to talk to you.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for joining. It's so good to see you, and I really appreciate today's thing, your Bitcoin story and all your American story sharing. It's very mesmerizing. But
yeah, it's always nice to talk with you. Thank you for having the initiative, man. I'm horrible with initiatives, like getting a conversation and stuff like that. I'm very thankful that you have this initiative, so we can keep talking. I really appreciate this, man.
Yeah, God
bless you.
Yeah, you too. God bless you, Lucas. If you have any plans to visit Asia, like, you better visit Seoul or Busan so that I could host you around.
Absolutely, will do. Yeah, Korea is one of the countries that I love the most in Asia.
Thank you so much, Lucas.
More than Japan, actually. So, nice talking with you. God bless, and let's continue maintaining contact and talking, man. Thank you so much.
Stay in touch, Lucas. I'll talk to you later, okay?
Yeah, and next time I want to hear more about you. You made a lot of questions. I talked too much this time.
It's fine.
Next time it's going to be more about you.
Sure. All right. Take care, my friend.
Take care.
Uh-huh.
See ya.
Peace. Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye.